Well, Rush is officially back. They shocked the world with their performance at the 2026 Canadian Juno Awards. They opened up the whole event with their song Finding My Way, which is track one of album one. It's the very beginning of their career, and they went over 10 years without playing, 11 years, but for the 10 years, everybody thought they were done. Rush was kind of supposed to never happen again. And it was a huge surprise. They announced a few months ago that they're doing this massive world tour with Annika Niles on the drums and now Lauren Gold on the keyboards for extra support so Geddy can just sing and play the bass. And so, what I feel like I'm seeing is around 90% positive feedback that we're all excited for Rush to be back, not just playing, but in the conversation. And there always has to be people, contrarians. And it seems about 10%, 15%, every post that has a few comments of positivity, there's always that it's not Rush without Neil comment, or the groove was off or something. I mean, to me, it felt on. It was rocking, and there was one. I don't even want to say criticism because that has negativity attached, but there's one comment. People are saying "Finding My Way," interesting song choice, being an early Rush John Rutsey sound before they really even developed the iconic Rush sound. But I totally get the song choice. One, it's easier probably than Natural Science or 2112. But and then that's probably a major song that the three of them have jammed and practiced these last few months. It's probably their like home base song that they probably started with it early on, and that's the song that they can kind of groove through that is less stressful than, like I said, Hemispheres or, some of the more difficult songs. Um, that makes sense. Now, it's a John Rutsey song. It's not even a Neil song. I don't know if that even matters to the conversation. It's all Rush history. It's a cool song. And the other thing that makes it fitting, I think that Finding My Way has more of a wide appeal. That people that don't know Rush or are on the fence about Rush, it can kind of give them this idea that they are this cool rock band from the 70s. Sometimes if you put the most intense Rush music to someone who has no idea, you might be doing them a disservice as far as converting them into this this way of life, which is being a Rush fan, because you might be hitting them with too much at once. So I think the song choice was good. They're easing their way into it, and it makes sense that the first song of their career is now the first song starting them back up again. A big talking point about this performance was Geddy Lee's voice. Now, yes, I understand the strain of the last 50 years, and his voice has kind of sounded like this the last 2 or 3 decades. But then there's two factors. There's that, but then on the other hand, it sounded good because, and I remember this happening, it sounded good because he's been resting for, 10 years. And instead of going hard every night, his vocal cords have had the time to heal. And I remember this. I was really excited for both Clockwork Angels and R40. That's when I had become a full Rush fan at that point. And I remember at the beginning of both tours thinking, oh, he's been working on his voice. He sounds better. And by the time it got to me, Dallas, I think, was halfway through or towards the end of either one of those tours. I remember thinking, like, it's still good, but it's not exactly what it was at the beginning. Also, if you've only seen Rush through a screen, through your phone, through your computer, Geddy Lee's voice live, like the modern voice, it sounds better live. It sounds like Geddy Lee and he's hitting those high notes. So you get people saying at the concert is, whoa, how is he hitting the high notes? And then unfortunately, when you go home and watch it on your computer, it's listening to it by with a microscope, looking at it with a microscope. You know what I mean? And it doesn't sound the same. But when it's live and it's loud, like there's other loud things going on, the audience, the drums, the sound, and then you just hear Geddy Lee's voice hitting the high notes, it actually sounds good when you're there. So it's just, he kind of has to summon a lot of falsetto, I think. And so what's effective in the live space results in that, what you hear. So anyway, I thought of just a few talking points here. So Rush is back, but with a new drummer. Is it even Rush? I fully support what the official camp decides. If Geddy and Alex say it's Rush, I am with them on their decision. It was named Rush, actually by John Rutsey's significant other, right? And then John brought it to the table, and yeah, so it was like a John Rutsey kind of thing. And they had the name before Neil, and they are the deciders. So, case closed in my court case in my head, because who's to say they can't do it? And you know what? I have this crazy theory. This might be controversial, but I think if Neil was still around, nothing would be different. I think this exact tour would still be happening with Annika Niles and Lauren Gold. I think Geddy and Alex would be tired of sitting around, and Neil would say, I'm done. You can move on with someone else. I don't know that the timeline is changed. What do you think? Okay, what was your first reaction when you heard Annika Niles was stepping in? I didn't know her name, but I immediately saw the word Jeff Beck. I was like, okay, sold, done. It's good. We're fine. It'll be okay. So, and then I looked up some videos and saw her doing these crazy polyrhythms and jazz and rock. Just like, okay, this is exactly what Rush needs, right? And then now everything's confirmed with Finding My Way. She sounded great. So I'm excited. I wonder what these next few years looks like after they survive the tour, as Geddy said. And then they have new jams they're thinking about. So let's see what happens with Annika. Hopefully she just stays as the solid member. Do you think any drummer can actually replace Neil Peart, or is that impossible? I think it's impossible to replace any musician, especially at something they came up with. It's easy for us to play the thing that feels natural. And learning the language and art of music and rock, it helps to learn what other people are doing, and you find the things that are natural to you that they did, and some things that they do won't be natural to you, just like how some things you do won't be natural to a lot of other people. And there's so many people, so there's so many variables, but I think that she can honor him. No one can replace Neil, and I don't think anyone's trying to replace Neil, but she's here to honor him. Like I kind of said before, and I'll probably continue to say, we trust Geddy and Alex in the judgment call for these types of executive Rush decisions. Is this more like a tribute or a true continuation of the band? See, I am very optimistic to me, it's a continuation. I'm ready for something new to happen. I don't mind if they change up parts of some songs. I want to hear what a new Rush will sound like. We got the most consistent of what any band in all of rock history, just 50 something straight or 40 something straight years of just touring album. And so how much more can they give us of classic Rush? I'm so optimistic about something new. And I feel like the early 2000s was kind of a dark era for a lot of classic rockers. All these people that you look at the pictures of them, these 70s and 80s bands, and they have all this creative clothing. For some reason in the 2000s, they all switched to black shirts and jeans, and all their music started to suck. Whether it's, I'm actually not going to name names. And I like a lot of what Rush did in the early 2000s, but I think the real point I'm trying to make is that I think like after 2015, a lot of these rock bands that went through this dark era started to get better again. And in the 2020s now, rock is like sounding good again. And maybe Sabbath kicked off the new renaissance in 13. But then, yeah, Rush had Clockwork Angels and all these other bands that like were not sounding as great started to find this rhythm again. And what I'm trying to say is it might not even be the band's fault. It's just those times they were in didn't quite match them. I might argue 2026 grooves better and feels better for rock than maybe 2003 did. That's kind of a cool thought, right? That we're past the worst of it. Okay. What does this say about rock right now? That a band like Rush is coming back in 2026? I've been screaming from the rooftops. There is huge momentum going. And I think that part of the momentum has been sad that Rush has not been a part of the conversation. And it's nostalgic and so fun that Rush is going to be maybe the band of 2026. And I think that there's so much support. I think it says a lot that they're trying to do like this little modest tour ended up blowing up and being worldwide and 4 shows at each location. This is their biggest selling tour of all time, right? And I think Rush is bigger than ever. I think that throughout the years, so many people had all these opinions because they could have been weirder or more experimental. And now, so many people I've seen come around like, you know what, I like that song or that part, or I really respect them. I've always respected them, but even more than ever now, I'm kind of liking them because all these songs I've respected over the years are now kind of enjoyable to me, There's all kinds of reactions like that. And rock's momentum to kick off, in my opinion, was the Taylor Hawkins show. Because the tribute show after he passed away, that was an amazing time when the whole scene got together like a big family. And not just the artists, but the fans. And we kind of hit on something really interesting and cool that a lot of people wanted to be a part of. We're stronger together than apart. And then following that up a couple of years later, we just had the Back to the Beginning show. And it was very similar. It was a lot of similar musicians that played at the show. And another event that instead of, being broken segments of rock, lots of bands spread across the world, now you have a 3 million person audience watching this event because you have all this rock power, star power in the same room. And so I think it's very exciting that Ozfest is coming back and now Rush is here. I think that there's a lot of exciting things about rock and Rush is exciting, and the two things are just ping-ponging, and Rush is contributing to this new rock movement. Do fans even want this, or are they going to push back hard? Dude, the fans that do want it, like me, are in the vast majority. The fans that push back don't stand a chance. They will be stampeded. All these shows are selling out. And you know what's good news for those fans? All of the old Rush concerts are available on YouTube and all the other services and DVD. So you can stay at home and keep watching those and listening to the live shows. You don't have to listen to anything new. But for the vast majority of us supporters, I think we're all excited to get a little bit more of something we thought was just done forever. Something that's really special to us and that saved a lot of us and changed the outcome of our lives. What does Annika bring that's actually different, not just filling shoes? Annika, well, a new perspective, right? They've been working with the same drummer, the god, the philosopher, the professor himself, for so long. And now they're going to see for the first time since 1974 what another drummer might do. They said how there was 4 practices where it was not working out with Annika. It wasn't until the 5th practice that they figured some things out and realized we can make this work. They said Geddy Lee has confirmed that they will be doing a lot of honoring Neil's drum lines and parts, and she'll also be adding her own contributions where it's appropriate, where it sounds good. So there will be a mix of both styles. So she's not only, she's not at all just filling shoes. She's bringing her style to the classic Rush songs. If they continue to write more songs after the tour, she will be Rush. The question is more what she doesn't. The question, you know what I'm trying to say. She's bringing so much, and I really hope that she can feel like a band member of Rush when this whole thing is moving. Not even done, but when it starts to get rolling. I think it's important that she's included in the family. Okay, here's a question. If you were in Rush, would you even want to continue after Neil? Oh my gosh, that's a funny question, and I totally understand it. If Neil Peart was my drummer for 50 years, would I want to play with anyone else? I can see that being a monumental, tough decision. It's like, oh man, I don't even want to start. What they had was so easy going. There wasn't explaining of like, this is how things should be. There was collaboration and figuring things out, but for the most part, they were so on the same groove, right? They kind of knew what to do on certain parts. That's just the unspoken language of I want to like siblings or close friends after so many years. You know, it's you don't even have to speak. You can just look at each other and you know what to do. And then on top of that, because that's already the case for millions of bands, millions of people. But on top of that, now we're talking about one of the greatest drummers of all time. Your personal brother who is speaks the language telepathically with you, also happens to be the greatest drummer of all time. How do you live with, first of all, not having access to that anymore? That has to be incredibly tough. Every time you pick up your instrument, you're like, man, I can't do this. Like, this isn't fun anymore. Because the highs used to be so high. It used to be so fun. When your jamming partner was Neil Peart, and now you're just alone. That is what Getty and Alex have had to face for 10 years now. So it makes sense that there's a new spark of joy and wanting to do things with them. That's amazing, right? I guess Rush is a better thing to look at than me on what decisions Rush would make, and Rush did make the decision to continue. So, by that, we know it was more difficult to stop than to replace Neil. That's pretty cool. Is this a one-time thing, or do you think this turns into a full new era of Rush? Well, Getty and Alex are young. They still have years ahead. They both are talking in interviews how they're going to, they're training, they're healthy. They both look sharp, they look healthy. Getty was still bouncing around on stage in March of 2026. And I totally could see them writing some stuff by the way they're talking about it. So I really hope it turns into a full new era. I'm really open-minded and optimistic, so I'm curious to see what they can do. And you know what? When does it go from being a one-time thing to an era? At what point do we cross into, okay, this is an era now? I mean, the tour already is kind of an era. But if there's any announcement after the tour that songs are being worked on, it's for sure we're in the new Rush era, right? Yeah, how do we know when we're in the new Rush era? Tour, songs, right? Okay, last talking point here. Zoom out. Does this moment mean anything bigger for the future of rock bands? What could this mean for the future of rock bands? Let me know what you think, by the way. I think this means that if you're in a band, guess what? You could be in that band in 60 years. Maybe try to play the long game. See what you can do to get along and to work hard, but stay grounded. And what else does it mean for the future of rock? It means that there's just more momentum overall. There are going to be these meccas of rock at every single Rush concert. So large groups of tens of thousands of rock fans are going to be once again together in an arena. So meet people when you're there. Find people that are interesting, that are into similar things that you are, and let's merge this community. Let's unify. Let's see what kind of collaborations can come out of it. I'm sure there will be lots of Rush covers from local bands posting that. That'll be cool to see. What else could come out of it? New movement. The new movement for rock. I mean, what would be great, just like me when I was younger and discovering all these bands, Rush was my first concert. And I sometimes say that I am still just forever in the post-concert shock of how amazed I was that night 15 years ago. And there will be lots of young people going to see Rush again. And hopefully that same spark of lightning that hit me will hit more people, and more people will be encouraged to go get a guitar or ask for an instrument for Christmas or take lessons after school. And not having Rush means just we're closer to this future of rock kind of dying out a little bit, limping along, whatever you want to call it. These kids that don't have these opportunities, they go and just listen to whatever is, popular at the time. And not that that's bad or anyone, there's such a thing as bad music or music you shouldn't listen to, but just making the point that the more they are back and the more opportunities the human race has to see them, and especially people who have never seen them getting to see them for the first time, this will inspire all of those people and people who have seen them before. I know I will be so inspired after I see them again, and it'll be really exciting to see what comes from this. There has to be um, a huge ripple effect throughout the world of rock, with Rush playing 100 shows or however many shows they're playing. How could there not be? I mean, when I was like 14, I was getting home from school and trying to learn like the Free Will bass line. Like, that's what I was doing with my time. That is so good for young people, and for musicians. I have said before, I feel like it got me to the point I'm at as a musician quicker, going from learning the chords of Hound Dog by Elvis to the Free Will bass line. That was a huge jump in a short amount of time for my 14-year-old self, but it got me to a whole new point way quicker. It got me the familiarity, feel I needed with my hands. So this has been kind of cool. I made some talking points, and now that kind of opened up a lot of different conversations. I'm curious what you think. My name's Alex Goff. I'm a rock musician in LA. I talk about everything, the art of rock and roll. I would love to see more of a new rock movement grow as we approach all these cool new announcements and events. Please subscribe to support this journey, our movement, my journey. I will keep talking about rock, and I have a lot of exciting plans in the future as far as talking rock and moving my music forward. So support the journey, and yeah, rock and roll. Support rock and roll.